Good morning, friends. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that happened to one of my clients, right? So, the issue that they're running into is that they actually had a pool company fall right through their dry well. Let's talk about it. So, what happened was about a year ago, we did the inspection for these people when they were purchasing their home. And we made sure to find out exactly where everything was, how everything looked, what the condition of the pits were, and then also to flag out and draw them a new map so that way they knew exactly what they were working with and where everything was. All right? Fast forward 12 months, right? And then I get a frantic phone call from these people trying to figure out what do they do. A crane just went through the top of their dry well. Well, when you're trying to install a pool, sometimes they have to actually crane the liner into the backyard, depending on what it is, right? So this pool company gets everything dug up. They go ahead and they basically set up the site conditions. They should have had everything marked, right, prior to moving. And then they were getting the crane in place to start to do the project. The problem is, as they were driving the crane into place, the rear end of that crane went right over top of the lid to the dry well and went straight through it. Now, with dry wells, generally in our area, that was an older style absorption system, very similar to a drain field, but rather than being skinny and long, it's going to be wide and tall, right? So you'll see those generally from the mid-'80s and later in our area. And what a dry well is basically just a giant hole, right? They'll dig a usually 8-foot to 10-foot diameter pit, dry stack some cinder block in there, and then they'll put stone on the exterior. The stone on the outside of the pit is basically to help open everything up, so that way you can have a good flow into the soil surrounding the pit to basically have the soil absorb all of the bacteria and all the nasty water, right? Well, what'll happen is, over the course of many years, that area will fill up and get oversaturated. And then it's got nowhere else to go but back towards the tank. And the issue with this is going to be that these people, they have an older system. We no longer do dry wells anymore. The problem with a dry well is that it's a big void. And so when this crane went over top of it, the lid's only usually about 4 inches with some reinforcements in there like rebar. Well, if you put an 80,000-pound truck on top of it, of course the thing's going to collapse. So these people have a giant crane in their front yard, basically halfway in the ground. They get another larger crane from the pool company to come and pull the smaller crane out of the hole. Once all that's said and done, now this homeowner's got a giant cavity in the middle of their front yard with just an open pit that's 10 feet down, right? What do we do? So they call us to come take a look and see what's going on. And all the pipes are destroyed, the lid's completely gone, and then the first 3 or 4 feet of pit, the blocks are destroyed as well. So this is where we have to talk to the county, right? So dry wells are no longer, acceptable or usable when it comes to new installations in our county and in our area. They are acceptable if you're transferring the property or it's already in place, but they're not usually going to play nice when it comes time to fix. So what the county was saying is that either A, you backfill this with stone, and then you add in a new lid and new pipe and call it a day, or B, if the county doesn't really like that idea, they make you completely fill it with dirt and then install a new pit or a new trench system on the property. Now, this particular property only really has about, 0.3 acres, maybe 0.4 acres. So there's not a huge lot and there's not really a whole lot of space for them to do what they need to do on this property. So now my client's stuck with, all right, do we attempt to pull the permit and see if the county will let us fill this with stone and a new lid, or do we just bite the bullet and go straight into a trench? Our argument is let's talk with the county, see if we can get this pit full of stone and a new lid, see if we can rehabilitate this system. It'll save a lot of money and basically it'll still function. The pit looked perfectly fine until the crane went through it. So still waiting on some resolution from the county on that one. But the next question that popped up that this homeowner had is, well, who's responsible for paying for this, right? Is it the homeowner's responsibility or is it the pool company's responsibility? And I think it really kind of comes down to, well, what did the contract say, right? So when we're doing work, we always put in our disclaimers that the homeowner's responsible to identify and tell us of any potential underground private utility, whether it be a water line, whether it be some kind of like electrical line to like a barn, or if there's some other thing that they put underground that's not going to be marked from this utility. So if the pool company's contract said that and they still went over the pit, well, the homeowner's on the hook for paying for that bill. But let's just say that the homeowner did tell this pool company, hey, my septic field's over here, be careful, and the pool company still went over it. Well, now maybe it's the pool company's problem. But if you're going to try and sue to have the pool company's insurance fix it, well, that takes a lot of time and a lot of resources. So what's going to happen in the meantime, right? Are you just going to leave an open pit in your yard and just have that for the next several months until whatever comes of the insurance is dealt with? Probably not, right? So in this particular circumstance, I'm pretty sure that this homeowner is going to end up having to float the bill and then try and claw back whatever money they can from the pool company once all is said and done. But that's still going to take quite a while and a lot of headache for this person. What do you think is the right outcome? Do you think the pool company should be involved and have to deal with the cost of this repair since it was their machine? Or do you think it's the homeowner's responsibility, and because they weren't paying attention to the pool company's crane operator, that maybe it's on them, right? Let me know below. Tell me what you think, and then we'll kind of continue the conversation. So, collapses of dry wells, they happen, but they're not super frequent, right? I come across maybe one or two a year that have failed in just catastrophic ways, whether it be a crane going over it or just one lid just gives up the ghost one day and falls through. The reason the county no longer likes pits or won't normally let you repair a pit is because it's an open cavity in the ground, and it can do exactly this, where a crane can fall through, or a tractor can fall through, a car can fall through, any number of heavier object can fall right through. So what they'll usually do is they'll just say you got to abandon it. By filling it with stone and then putting a new lid on, basically what you're doing is you're getting rid of the void, but you're still letting it operate like it's supposed to, where the water goes in and then disperses out into the surrounding soil. The stone's just there so if something heavy does go over top of it, you might crack the lid, but you're not going to go through the lid. And that's the more important part. You don't want to go through the system because you could kill yourself and or get stuck and cost a lot of money. I don't know how much cranes are, but to get a bigger crane that can pick up an 80,000 pound crane, I'm sure that's not cheap, right? And also whatever kind of damage might have happened to the existing the 80,000 pound crane, those things are big, they're heavy, repairs are usually very expensive. So this incident costs everybody a lot of money no matter what happens, right? But this is just another reminder that if you have utilities in your yard, such as a septic system, a dry well, a normal well, maybe an irrigation system, it's very important to make sure that you let any contractors that are working on your house, especially when they have heavy equipment or excavation equipment, you got to let them know where stuff's at, so that way they don't destroy it or cause damage that's, irreplaceable, right? If you enjoy content like this, I have more videos on the world of well and septic posted daily, right? If you have any areas of conversation you'd like me to cover or any questions, please leave them below. I try to respond to all comments as they come in, and we all have a good conversation.